The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates for Monday, October 13th reveal that Kane Ashby considers giving Phyllis Summers his AI program, while news hits that Noah Newman was in a near-fatal car crash. Nick Newman delayed his trip to Los Angeles as Victor Newman wanted all hands on deck when Newman Media released their hit piece on Kane. While Nick stuck around to help Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman publish the piece, he was now going to head to Sharon in LA. He dropped by the ranch to let his dad know his plans, and while Victor did hum and haw about it, Victor eventually gave Nick the okay. Victor was concerned about Kane's retaliation, but he realized just how worried his son was about Noah. Just as Nick was about to head to the airport, he got a frantic call from Sharon. She was highly emotional and very distraught. Nick learned she was at a hospital in Los Angeles, as Noah had been in a car crash. Nick also found out that his son was fighting for his life. Victor told Nick to take the Newman jet to LA and to call him and Nikki Newman as soon as he had an update. Over to Phyllis and Kane, from the train car, they headed to the GCAC bar upon Phyllis's request. Kane wanted Phyllis to use his AI software to help polish up his image in the public eye and do good with it. Plus, Kane's desperate to prove himself to Lily Winters and his kids, so there's that too. While the two banter back and forth about the idea, Phyllis ultimately agrees to use her techie skills to figure out a way to use the AI program, which was once going to be unleashed to take over the legacy companies in Genoa City. Now she had to figure out a way for it to be used for the greater good of humanity and to make Kane look like a hero. With that said, Phyllis tells Kane the only stipulation she has is that she wants him to hand over his AI software to her. Kane says no, after all. How can he trust her with the powerful tool? What if she turns around and uses it for her own benefit? This is when Phyllis leans in close to him and guarantees he can trust her, seductively. It almost looked as if the two were going to kiss, but they didn't. Kane then notes that if Phyllis gives him some scenarios, he'll consider giving her the AI program. At Society, Adam and Chelsea celebrate their Kane hit piece when Victoria Newman joins them. The talk turns to Claire Newman in LA with Holden Novak, and Victoria states her concerns over this, which is when Kyle Abbott walks in. Kyle takes Victoria to the side and tells her about his plans to win Claire back by heading to Los Angeles. All he needs is her address, which he asks Victoria for. Vicky insists that Claire needs space, and she's not about to disrespect her daughter by helping Kyle. She refuses to help, and Kyle sulks about it. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Kyle may pull an underhanded move to find Claire's whereabouts in LA. So fans will need to stay tuned to the CBS soap this week to watch this storyline play out. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, October 13th, 2025, have Victor giving Nick an ultimatum, Kane playing to Phyllis's strengths, and Sharon making a distress call. Victor has made it clear that he wants Nick to remain in Genoa City. However, Nick has promised Sharon that he'll be there in Los Angeles with her so they can see their son, Noah. On Monday's show, watch for Nick to be torn between honoring his father's wishes and being there for his ex and their son. Anyone who knows Nick knows that at the end of the day, there's no real choice for Nick. He's devoted to his former wife and Noah. If Nick says he'll do something, he does it. Kane knows that Phyllis can be volatile, but he's also keenly aware of her computer skills. On Monday's show, watch for Kane to play to the redhead's strengths. Kane has a lot of adversaries these days: Jack, Adam, and, of course, Victor. Perhaps Phyllis can aid Kane against his enemies using her skills as a keyboard warrior. The hit piece by Newman Media has painted Kane in a light that may prevent him from having a great relationship with his estranged children. But maybe Phyllis can help change all that. Sharon's gone to Los Angeles ahead of Nick to see their son, Noah. It looks like Nick can't get to LA fast enough. On Monday's show, watch for Sharon to make a distressing call. We imagine she's going to reach out to the person who can help her the most, the man who is often there for her when no one else is: Nick! Sharon is one of YNR's most beloved heroines. Fans hate to see her in jeopardy, but they love watching her conquer her challenges. The Young and the Restless boasts 4 of the 6 nominated actresses who are nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress in a drama series at the Daytime Emmys this year. Viewers will find out who the winner is when the awards are handed out on Friday, October 10th. Read on to hear what Y&R nominees Sharon Case, Eileen Davidson, Melissa Claire Egan, and last year's winner, Michelle Stafford, had to say about their nominations. 3 out of the 4 nominated Y&R actresses already have Daytime Emmy Gold statuettes on their mantles. Case won the Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series category. Stafford has 1 Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress and 2 for Outstanding Lead Actress. Davidson has 1 each for her role as Kristen on Days of Our Lives in 2014, and 1 for playing Ashley on Y&R in 2018. Case believes that it's a very strong year for her category. All 6 performers have big storylines and are strong actresses. It's a competitive category, Case told TV Insider. As such, the actress is especially grateful to be acknowledged by voters. These are the best of the best, Davidson adds. She feels that all the women in this category have put in great performances. Davidson has been to the show as a presenter. She and the late Drake Hogestyn, in fact, handed out Stafford's first award to her when the awards were held at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. Egan is celebrating her 8th nomination. She plans on bringing her parents to the show, as she did when she was nominated the first time for playing All My Children's Annie in 2009. They love this stuff, so that'll be fun. I'm excited for that, Egan says. An annual, unofficial tradition involving the lead actresses began decades ago. 3-time Emmy winner Michelle Stafford, this year's reigning lead actress, continues the long-running tradition of hosting a luncheon for her category's nominees, a practice that dates back to 2005. Last year's winner Stafford, who joined The Young and the Restless in '94, recalls a tradition that started years ago when Susan Flannery picked up the tab when there were a record 8 nominees. That's how it started, Stafford recalls, and then Erica Slezak won, and she got up on stage and says, "All right, I guess I'm paying next year." And it just continued on, which is really cool. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest Kane Ashby threatened a defamation lawsuit against Newman Enterprises in light of their recently published article on his late father, Colin Atkinson. From the sounds of it, the entire article was written based on the letter Victor Newman discovered, which incriminated Colin and implied that he duped Madame de Leon under the alias Lord Jeremy Edgerton. The money and estate Colin inherited from de Leon were the very funds used to build Kane's Arabesque company, so if the article is true, Kane's fortune has been built on a web of lies. Of course, the fact that both Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson did not follow up with sources, but just followed Victor's orders has been brought up multiple times. During the Friday, October 10th episode, shortly after Newman Media published the article, Kane stormed into the Newman Media offices and dropped the lawsuit bombshell. There's been no confirmation as to whether Victor's claims about Colin are true. It's also uncertain if Kane knew what Colin was up to. One thing Kane, and even Jill Abbott, have been adamant about is how much Colin changed right before he passed away. With that said, Colin's last con doesn't seem overly far-fetched, and the entire story does seem like something he would do. Still, even if it is true, with no known sources to back up Newman Media, could Kane launch a lawsuit that buries Newman Media and Newman Enterprises? Victor is rich, but Kane seems a little bit richer, so he could drag Victor and his company through the court system until his conglomerate crumbles. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that the Newmans have been fretting over their legacy, thanks to the AI software Kane has, but if Victor had stayed in his lane, they may not have had the bigger worry that Kane will bring forth in the form of a lawsuit that could ruin their fortune. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 3 weeks, October 13th to 31st, suggest fans need to brace for some horrifying moments in Los Angeles, while there's wedding drama for one couple. Plus, there will be fireworks between Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers. Off the cusp of that Newman Media hit piece, Kane will be reeling. He was on shaky ground with the twins and Lily Winters, as it was, so he'll be desperate to turn things around. Y&R spoilers for the week of October 13th-17 hint that he'll turn to Phyllis and ask for her help to do something, using that AI software to make him look good in the eyes of the public, as well as his family. Still, she'll issue him an ultimatum. Phyllis will tell him she can help if he gives her the AI program. However, he'll be hesitant to do this. Kane will agree to think about it if she provides some scenarios on how she will use it, and if she proves that he can trust her with it. Over to Nick Newman, he'll be shocked by a distress call from Sharon Newman. Sharon will call him to let him know that she's at an LA hospital, as Noah Newman is there after a car crash, fighting for his life. The whole scene will feel eerily like Cassie Newman's situation, so the parents will be terrified for their son. Noah will likely be in a coma, which means Nick and Sharon will be left with a ton of questions and no answers as to why their son had been acting strangely leading up to the collision, and what exactly has landed him in this predicament. Noah won't be able to speak to what happened, which will have Schick that much more on edge. There will be two major characters debuting during the week of October 13th. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that General Hospital alum Matt Cohen will enter the canvas on Thursday, October 16th, as Detective Burrow, and he'll be involved in the Schick Noah storyline. Plus, soap vet Tamara Braun will debut Sienna Bacall on Tuesday, October 14th. Sienna is a bar owner in LA, and she'll have scenes with Holden Novak and Claire Newman as the two enjoy some Vespers. In her establishment, Sienna will mention Holden's past relationship with Audra Charles, so it'll be interesting to learn more about Sienna and how her story relates to those in Genoa City. Elsewhere, Kyle Abbott will be ruthless in his pursuit of heading to LA. During the Monday, October 13th episode, he'll approach Victoria Newman at Society, requesting information on Claire's address in LA. With that said, the mom will deny his request. However, Kyle will do something massively sketchy to ensure he gets the information he wants. In fact, it looks like he'll also completely catch Claire off guard when he shows up in LA and crashes her getaway adventure. In other news, Mariah Copeland will get a visit to Boston from Tessa Porter. Still, things have been very testy between this super couple since Mariah's business trip and her odd evening with Will Hensley. Will the visit end on a good or sour note? During the week of October 17-24th, things could get even worse for Tessa and Mariah. If Tessa informs her wife about the digging that she and Daniel Romalotti did, Mariah could have a meltdown. This may have Tessa running into Daniel's arms for comfort, but will the two all share a romantic moment? Daniel has genuine feelings for Tessa, while Tessa has friendly feelings for Daniel. With that said, if she's vulnerable, she could get caught up in a moment. Over to the Noah situation, Nick will search for answers surrounding his son's situation. Y&R spoilers suggest that this mystery will have its fair share of twists, turns, and possibly horrifying moments. Nick may be completely shocked by the mess Noah has gotten into. But will Noah be okay? Finally, the week of October 27th to 31st will bring some wedding planning as Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti prep for their November nuptials. Cricket and Danny have already knocked off a lot on their to-do list, but there are still some things to iron out, as well as a bachelor and bachelorette party to organize, so there may also be some celebrations along the way too. Will Phyllis throw a wrench in their festivities? She may be more preoccupied with Kane. The two got mighty close to having a steamy kiss during the October 13th episode, so fans should expect more fireworks between the two as Phyllis presents her AI plans to Kane, and he decides whether or not to give her the software. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest the next 3 weeks will be over the top, as November sweeps quickly approaches, so fans need to stay tuned to the CBS soap to catch every moment. In 2005, the Women of Soaps birthed an annual tradition leading up to the Daytime Emmy Awards that's still honored today. After Susan Flannery secretly paid the tab, she declared that the next winner would pay for the luncheon the following year. The tradition has remained, 2 decades later, with Michelle Stafford, a nominee present at the inaugural event, hosting this year's intimate meetup. Stafford took home the top honor last year at the Daytime Emmys, putting her in charge of hosting duties for this year's luncheon. Despite nominees including stars across several of the major soaps, only her fellow co-stars from The Young and the Restless were in attendance. Stafford took to Instagram to capture the occasion, writing, "The ladies who lunch, carrying on this tradition that was started by the great Susan Flannery. This year, we celebrated the lead and supporting actresses. In attendance were Eileen Davidson and Melissa Claire Egan from the lead actress category, and celebrating the occasion from the supporting actress category were Courtney Hope and Susan Walters. Unfortunately, the remaining ladies were unable to attend the event, which Stafford ensured to include in the caption to avoid backlash regarding inclusion beyond her show. Before some of you start yelling at me, the gals who you don't see in this picture, at Nancy Legrand, at Welcome to Laura's World, at Caden Mancy, at Sharon Case, at Emroya, at Oh My Godfrey, were not able to come. We missed you, gorgeous ladies! The event appeared to be an astounding success, with all of the ladies reflecting on the gathering in the comments. Hope echoed the sentiment regarding the missing women at the event, commenting, "Such a fun brunch! Love you all!" and missed the others. Stafford's on-screen rival Walters wrote, "So honored to be in the badass bunch of talented women. Love you all. Thanks for being the hostess with the mostest." Walters also posted to her own Instagram to document the exquisite baked treats, which featured each of the women's names inside an Emmy envelope, declaring them all winners. Women supporting other women was on full display at Stafford's Emmy nominee luncheon. In addition to the powerhouse talents in attendance at the star-studded affair, nearly all of the absent nominees expressed their support in the comments of Stafford's event post. Following Stafford's remark that, "Such great conversation, pinky swears were made," General Hospital's Laura Wright responded with, "Oh, pinky swear luncheons are the best. I'm so sorry I missed it, but I'm so glad you ladies have a great time. Can't wait to hug you all on Friday." Other notable names who left sweet comments on the post include Days of Our Lives' Lindsay Godfrey, who wrote, "Sad to have missed it. Love to you all from Salem. See you Friday. You're all spectacular." Fellow Salem resident Emily O'Brien also expressed her regrets on missing out, saying, I wish I could have been in town to join you wonderful ladies. Looking forward to celebrating Friday with you all." XX. Stafford's choice to include the supporting actress nominees alongside the lead actress contenders proved to be an excellent bonding experience for her fellow Genoa City stars. The Daytime Emmy Awards take place this Friday, October 17th, and not only will one of the women leave with the prestigious trophy, but the lead actress winner will have a luncheon of their own to plan for next year. On Tuesday's Y&R, Holden's night with Claire takes a surprising turn when someone from his past resurfaces. Meanwhile, Jill's heartfelt reflection on Billy could change everything between them. On the Tuesday, October 14th, episode of The Young and the Restless, spoiler photos show Holden and Claire experience good times over drinks. Claire meets someone from Holden's past. Plus, Jill reflects on her relationship with Billy. Holden has been around since January of this year, and we still know very little about him. We know that he worked for Damien, and they were besties. We also know that he and Audra have a past that they won't talk about, but it may have been something illegal. Things are about to change, however. Holden is in Los Angeles, and he's hanging with his friend Claire. And it seems like we're finally about to learn something deeper about the man. Here, Holden and Claire share a toast at some LA hotspot that might be one of Holden's regular hangs. Of course, they are drinking Vespers because that is their drink. Although now that she's on the West Coast, Claire may open up her beverage repertoire. She is in the mood to be adventurous, after all. She wants to find herself. The question is, what does Holden want? It has to be more than a friendship with Claire. But he knows that she's not up for anything more right now. They appear to be having fun in these photos. According to spoilers, Holden is supposed to reconnect with someone from his past, and it looks like that's exactly what happens on Tuesday. Tamara Braun's character, Sienna Bacall, visits Holden and Claire's table. In the Y&R weekly video preview, she meets Claire and expresses her happiness that he's not hanging out with the other woman, Audra. Holden and Sienna get some one-on-one time. Hopefully, we will learn more about how they know each other and whether she is aware of what happened between Holden and Audra. Was Sienna involved? And why doesn't she seem to care for Audra? Finally, teasers reveal that Jill makes a significant decision that affects her relationship with Billy. Now this could go either way. This decision could further damage her mother-son bond with Billy, especially if it involves Kane. But that's not what she is trying to accomplish. She seems to want to repair things with Billy. So could this decision actually help mend things? What does she decide to do? The Young and the Restless. Spoilers: Lily uncovers Kane's darkest secrets. In Ultimate Betrayal, Lily Winters always knew that love and lies could intertwine. But she never imagined the monster hiding behind the mask of the man she married, Kane Ashby. For months, a chilling intuition told her that the foundation of their life was built on a terrible secret, one connected to the suspicious death of her former love, Damien. While she played the part of the devoted wife, inside, Lily was an investigator, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to uncover the truth she felt in her bones. Kane underestimated her. Believing her love had made her blind, he grew careless. He had no idea that Lily was meticulously tracking his secret meetings, his late-night calls, and his obsessive protection of an old mahogany desk in his study. That desk became the vault holding the answers she desperately needed, and she knew she had to get inside. Her opportunity came when Kane left for a high-stakes meeting with Victor Newman. With her heart pounding, Lily entered his office and cracked the digital lock on his desk using a sentimental combination of their birth years, a pathetic password for such dark secrets. Inside, she found a folder labeled Ashfield. As she turned the pages, her world shattered. The file contained undeniable proof: financial records, encrypted emails, and a signed payment order proving Kane had orchestrated Damien's accidental death. It wasn't an accident. It was an execution. But the horror didn't stop there. Lily unearthed a web of deceit that went deeper than she could have ever imagined. She found evidence implicating Kane in the disappearance of his own father, Colin. Proof that he was behind the mysterious hit-and-run that hospitalized Nick Newman. And even notes connecting him to the recent kidnapping of Noah Newman, using the boy's life as leverage. Kane wasn't just a manipulator. He was a monster who had poisoned every life he touched. When Kane returned home, confident and oblivious, he walked into his own judgment day. Lily stood waiting in his study, the evidence of his crimes spread across the desk like a battlefield. The moment he saw her face, his arrogant facade crumbled. He knew he was caught. There were no words, no excuses that could save him. Lily held all the power. A single phone call to the police would have buried him for life. But as she stared at the man she once loved, she realized that prison was too simple. Vengeance wasn't what she wanted. In a moment of chilling clarity, she chose a crueler punishment. She gathered the files, placed them back on his desk, and turned to leave. His broken whisper of her name went unanswered. She didn't turn him in, not out of mercy, but out of condemnation. Lily's silence was his true sentence, leaving him to rot in a prison of his own guilt, forever haunted by what he had done. As she walked out of the house and out of his life, Kane collapsed, a king left alone in the ruins of his fallen empire. The secret is out between them, but in Genoa City, secrets never stay buried for long. The storm is coming. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Monday, October 13th, reveal a heart-wrenching turn of events as Noah Newman's health crisis sends shockwaves through Genoa City and leaves Sharon and Nick reeling with fear. In a city known for its secrets, betrayals, and emotional storms, Sharon receives a mysterious call from an unknown number, and from that moment, everything changes. Panic consumes her as memories from the darkest chapter of her life come rushing back. Ever since the tragic death of her daughter Cassie, Sharon has lived with an unshakable fear that history might repeat itself. Now, as Noah fights for his life, those nightmares become terrifyingly real. Sharon's sobs over the phone tear through Nick's heart. The anguish in her voice sends him spiraling into guilt and desperation. Despite his heavy responsibilities at Newman Enterprises and an ongoing power struggle with Kane Ashby, Nick can't stay behind. He books the next flight to Los Angeles, determined to be by his son's side, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, Sharon keeps vigil at Noah's hospital bedside. Each second feels like a lifetime as she watches her son battle for survival. "This feels like Cassie all over again," she whispers to Nick through tears, a line that pierces both his heart and the hearts of viewers. When Nick arrives, the couple's world is shaken once again by the unexpected arrival of Detective Burrows. His cryptic words and probing questions suggest that Noah's accident might not have been an accident at all. The revelation leaves Sharon and Nick speechless and terrified. Could someone have intentionally targeted their son, and if so, why? Burrows quietly hints at a possible conspiracy, one that may reach far beyond what the Newmans could imagine. As the investigation deepens, Sharon and Nick find themselves pulled into a web of deceit, danger, and emotional torment that blurs the line between past and present. While Sharon clings to hope, Nick is torn between protecting his family and running Newman Enterprises, which is under fire from Kane's ruthless business maneuvers. The weight of it all begins to break him down. His confidence wavers, his heart aches. His world, once steady, begins to crumble. As if that weren't enough, Kyle Abbott makes a critical mistake in Los Angeles, one that may intertwine the Abbott and Newman families in ways no one saw coming. His hesitation sparks a chain reaction that could destroy more than one life and deepen the divide between two of Genoa City's most powerful dynasties. In the stillness of the hospital room, Sharon sits beside Noah's bed, exhausted and broken. Whispering prayers into the darkness, the monitors beep softly, the only sound reminding her that her son is still alive. But with every passing moment, she can't shake one haunting question. Lily Winters had always believed that love could survive anything, betrayal, distance, even tragedy. But she never imagined that love itself could be a lie. For years, Kane Ashby had been her protector, her partner, the man who swore to shield her from the chaos of Genoa City. Yet beneath his calm words and practiced devotion, Lily sensed something dark, a truth too dangerous to name. Her doubts began after Damien's death, the man she once loved deeply and lost under suspicious circumstances. The police had ruled it an accident, but Lily's instincts refused to rest. Each time Kane flinched at the mention of Damien's name, every glance that lingered too long on the evening news whispered the same warning. Her husband was hiding something. So Lily waited. She watched. She memorized his patterns, the late-night phone calls, the locked drawers, the meetings never mentioned again. Kane thought her love made her blind. In truth, it made her patient. When he left one morning for a meeting with Victor Newman, Lily made her move. Her hands trembled as she entered Kane's office, the scent of cedar and old paper thick in the air. The mahogany desk that had always been off-limits stood before her like a final test. With his usual passcode, their birth years combined, the lock gave way. Inside lay a worn folder marked Ashfield. The documents inside destroyed everything she thought she knew. Bank transfers, encrypted messages, offshore accounts, all linked to Damien's death. And then the final blow, a payment order, dated 2 days before the crash, signed with Kane's own authorization code. The man she had forgiven, defended, and trusted had orchestrated the murder of the only person who had ever loved her selflessly. But that wasn't all. Hidden among the files were records of other crimes: Colin's disappearance, a hit-and-run involving Nick, and even possible ties to the kidnapping of Noah Newman. Each page bled with corruption and betrayal. Kane's empire wasn't built on ambition. It was built on blood. When Kane returned home, Lily was waiting. The folder lay open on his desk, the evidence spilling out like a confession. He froze when he saw her, red-eyed, unbroken, silent. No accusations, no shouting. Just the truth laid bare between them. Kane tried to speak, but Lily's quiet stare silenced him. In that moment, he saw himself as she did, a man undone by his own lies. She could have gone to the police. She could have ended him with one call to Chance Chancellor. But instead, Lily chose something far worse. She left him to face the ruins of his own making. By nightfall, the mansion stood silent. Lily's car disappeared into the darkness as Kane remained behind, surrounded by the evidence of his sins. Genoa City has never been kind to secrets, and soon, his would no longer be his alone. Young and the Restless spoilers for Oct 13-17, 2D25. Dive into a tense week filled with confrontations, secrets, and shifting alliances. Expect major drama as Kyle Abbott crosses lines, and Kane Ashby lashes out in ways that shake Genoa City to its core. Victor Newman and Jill Abbott find themselves at odds over Kane. Victor insists Kane is a threat, while Jill refuses to believe her so-called son is capable of what Victor suggests. Nikki Newman tries to mediate, but her own suspicions grow when she hears about Kane's company, Arabesque, and its shady funding. Victor claims to have proof, while Jill accuses him of fabricating evidence for control. Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson are already digging into the story, and they might uncover more than anyone expects. Jack Abbott faces Kane over the AI software that could destroy Genoa City's balance of power. Kane insists he's acting in everyone's best interests, but Jack doesn't buy it. The conversation heats up when Kane throws Jack's own history with Billy Abbott back in his face. Jill arrives mid-confrontation, and while Jack tries to warn her, she's tired of hearing accusations about Kane. This triangle of loyalty and mistrust could explode at any moment. Daniel Romalotti and Tessa Porter discuss the troubling situation involving Mariah Copeland, who's still being treated in a Boston clinic. They fear someone connected to her violent past could come after her. Tessa insists she'll visit her wife no matter what it takes, and Daniel's quiet longing adds emotional tension. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman remains worried from afar, trying to keep faith that Mariah will recover, unaware of how dangerous things might get. Lily Winters and Jill finally confront Kane after a damaging exposé from Newman Media. The revelations about Colin's inheritance and Kane's questionable empire leave Kane cornered and angry. As his world collapses, Phyllis Summers steps in, perhaps too close for comfort. Sparks fly between them, but Daniel suspects her motives. Meanwhile, Danny Romalotti and Christine Blair finalize wedding plans, though chaos may be waiting at their pre-wedding parties. Victor rewards Adam and Chelsea for their loyalty after the Kane takedown. But peace won't last. Kane retaliates, storming into Newman Media and threatening digital vengeance through his AI. Victoria Newman warned this would happen, and now the Newmans face the possibility of a cyber war that could destroy their empire. Jill, caught in the middle, must decide where her loyalties truly lie on Young and the Restless. Jack and Victor continue their dangerous game, both gunning for control of Kane's AI. Jack wants it as insurance. Victor wants it for domination. Kane, meanwhile, is unraveling. With Lily and Jill confronting him and Phyllis growing closer, he's on edge. This volatile triangle could ignite into all-out corporate warfare as old rivalries resurface and alliances fracture. Nick Newman heads to LA, unable to stay away from Sharon and Noah Newman. There, several new faces debut. Tamara Braun as Sienna Bacall, Matt Cohen as Detective Burrow, and Lucas Adams as recast Noah Newman. Roger Howarth's mystery character adds intrigue, while Holden Novak reconnects with Claire Grace Newman. Back in Genoa City, Kyle schemes to keep Holden away from Claire, and his actions could push her past her breaking point. Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins brace for more chaos as Kane, Victor, Jill, and Billy all circle one another in a dangerous dance. Nikki fears Victor's obsession with control could lead to tragedy. Billy's jealousy over Jill's soft spot for Kane grows, while Audra Charles spirals emotionally. As Kane finds himself cornered, retaliation may be his only escape. Jack and Diane are stooping to Kane and Victor's level with their plans to acquire the AI software. This week's messiest move goes to Jack and Diane, who agreed to a revenge pact on Victor Newman on the Young and the Restless. It's no longer about Kane, it's about taking down the mustache. On the Thursday, October 9th episode of Y&R, Jack was fresh off his conversation with Jess, who's back in Genoa City. Jill wants to talk some sense into Billy and Kane, but what she doesn't realize is that she's still siding with Kane and coddling him. Perhaps she does know this, as she's concocting a plan with her fake son. Jack returned to the office to speak with Diane about his conversation with Jill. He believes he can get her to give him the AI software so it doesn't end up in the wrong hands. Then, Diane asked Jack if he would destroy it. He only shrugged until he talked about all the hell that Victor had put them through for years. This could be their way to finally get revenge. Jack is tempted to use the AI software to take Newman Enterprises away from Victor. But it could backfire. Jack has no idea what he's working with. He's not the most technologically savvy among them. Maybe Diane could help him with this plan. Speaking of Diane, did she convince Jack to go to the dark side on Y&R? We know that neither of them has any idea what they're doing. All they're thinking about is having control and seeking revenge on Victor. But they could be in over their heads with this plan. What's also ironic is that Jack wants to take Newman away from Victor, while Billy wants to take Chancellor away from Nikki. They want to do the same thing that Kane has been wanting to do, but somehow he's the bad guy. Could Kane be playing a cunning game on everyone on Y&R? It's sad to see Jack stoop to Victor's level. Unfortunately, this plan could backfire, since Victor will ultimately win as he normally does. This week's Y&R video preview hints at Holden running into an old friend who could expose his past. The Young and the Restless is about to kick off a big storyline in Los Angeles. This week's video preview spoilers include someone's past coming back to haunt them, while another is in a horrible accident. Here's a look at what to expect for October 13th, 17. Kyle isn't giving up on his relationship with Claire, but his chances of a reunion are dwindling now that Claire's left Genoa City to go with Holden to LA. Yet, this isn't going to deter Kyle, who is planning to go to California to win back Claire. Before he heads out west, he needs help from one person, Claire's mother, Victoria. This week, Kyle fills Victoria in on his plan and asks for Claire's address in LA. Will Victoria cave in to Kyle's request? Or will she tell him to respect Claire's wishes and leave her alone? Speaking of Claire and Holden, the two are enjoying the sights and sounds of Hollywood. However, their evening takes an unexpected turn when they end up in Sienna Bacall's nightclub. Holden and Claire are sipping on their drinks when Sienna comes to their table. Holden and Sienna recognize each other, and he introduces her to Claire. Sienna remarks that Claire is better than that other woman he used to hang out with, Audra. The mention of Audra's name makes Holden uneasy and Claire suspicious. Holden and Audra's past is bound to come up during the trip, and Sienna might be the one to expose their secret. Sharon arrived solo in LA to visit her son Noah. What was supposed to be a fun family trip has now turned tragic. A hysterical Sharon calls Nick to tell him that Noah's been in a bad car accident. Nick was supposed to go with Sharon on the trip, but stayed home to help Victor with the Kane situation. But Nick will be on the first plane out to California to be with his son. With Noah fighting for his life, Sharon and Nick will lean on each other for support. Noah's accident will not only bring Schick together, but also kick off a big storyline connecting several characters. Kane is the bad guy because he has his hands on AI software, which could help him acquire everyone's companies. But he's not the first to do it. Kane is being portrayed as the villain of Genoa City on The Young and the Restless on October 10th. Even he's considering changing his image after all that went down in Nice. But is Kane as bad as Jack or Victor? Kane has been a well-known con artist for some time. This isn't the first time he's lied and manipulated people. But this is the first time that he's disguised himself as the elusive Aristotle Dumas. Aristotle was a billionaire who was hidden away in Nice. He amassed his fortune by acquiring properties from others. Now, he wants to make more money by stealing from other people's companies. It's the same old con for Kane. Rather than setting out to achieve success on his own, he believes he can benefit from the successes of others. Yes, that makes him nefarious. However, he's not the only bad person in Genoa City. Victor Sod, for instance, has done the same. He most recently stole Jabot away from the Abbotts. Jack isn't any better. He's trying to convince Jill to hand over Kane's AI software to him so it can get destroyed. But secretly, he wants to use it to acquire Newman Enterprises. In the meantime, Kane wants to rehab his image. His family has been on his mind a lot lately. Kane's kids won't talk to him after they learned that he's a billionaire. Most kids would be thrilled. But not Kane's kids. They don't want to be associated with him. Plus, Kane's working hard to get Lily back in his life. So far, that hasn't worked well in his favor. She brings up their kids every time they talk. So can Kane prove that he's a changed person now? He's enlisting Phyllis's help, which is a bad idea. This is a person who's not self-aware of her own sins and crimes. This could be a losing battle for Kane. However, this business move doesn't make him worse than Jack or Victor, who would likely do the same and have done far worse in the past. As followers of actor Christian LeBlanc know, the actor, who plays Michael Baldwin on The Young and the Restless, had a real-life cancer battle. The three-time Daytime Emmy winner shared recently how his Y&R family was instrumental in helping him realize that he needed to get some medical aid. LeBlanc and his TV wife, Tracy Bregman, appeared on Soapy, the internet podcast hosted by Greg Ricart and Rebecca Budig. LeBlanc shared how his Y&R family was there for him during his health battle. He explained that he first realized that something was amiss when he was playing Michael. After years and years together, people show up, and I'm always surprised because it's work, not family, LeBlanc told the hosts, who assured their friend that he was truly loved. I really credit them for that. Ricart told his TV half-brother, "We love you." For LeBlanc, his cancer diagnosis was, in part, a case of life imitating art, as his Michael had gone through prostate cancer on the show. They did a long, slow pull out with the camera, LeBlanc says of when Michael learned he was ill. It was an actor's dream. LeBlanc began having nosebleeds before receiving his official diagnosis, but he initially assumed they had come from taking over-the-counter blood thinners. They got worse and worse and worse, he recalls. The actor was shooting a scene at the Genoa City Athletic Club and had been stuffing his nose with cotton to contain the bleeding. That necessitated him requesting that his scene partner, Zuleika Silver, keep a distance so he wouldn't have to raise his head to see her. Everyone was so patient, so good, but there was something going on, LeBlanc recalls. People were much more worried about me than I was, because I was just playing it off. You don't think in those terms. It wasn't until LeBlanc had a scene to shoot in which he had to put on Michael's wedding ring that he realized something deeper may be going on. I put my hand down and the ring fell off my hand, he says. That was the first sign of something odd. Read here to learn how The Young and the Restless star also thanked viewers for noticing something irregular.